Okay, welcome everyone. Sorry for a little bit of a delay here, but welcome to our October 3rd, 2023, 2 o'clock legislative session meeting. Let the record reflect that all, is Commissioner French? No. Okay, so we have 4 commissioners that are present here in the chambers. Commissioner Jordan, Waldrop, Kearns, and CUNY. We may have Commissioner French joining us online, I'm not sure. Oh, he's there now. So let the record reflect that we have all 5 commissioners present then with Commissioner French on Zoom. So let's see. Apologize, there's lots going on today. So for items that are other than our public hearing items, we have not received any public testimony for any written comment for today. But then we do have written comments for our public hearings, so I'll speak to that later. So then we will start with our open public forum. So anyone wishing to testify on anything that is not on our agenda today? Second call for anyone wishing to testify on items that are not on our agenda. Third and final call for open public forum. Not seeing anyone online or anyone in the audience, I will close the open public forum and look to my fellow commissioners, but I will state that we are striking item number 5B and 5C on today's agenda. Please note that 5B will come back to us next week on October 10th.
Madam Chair, I move to approve items 2, 3, 4, including all sub-items, and 5A as presented on today's agenda.
Second.
Second.
There's a little delay, Commissioner French. Commissioner Jordan got in. So I have a motion and a second for items 2, 3, 4, all sub-items, and 5A as presented on today's agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will then take us to our public hearing items. So today we have public hearing item 6A. So 6A is to consider the vacation of a portion of Big Rock Road, County Engineers File Number 497 for the Spokane County Public Works Department. This is a continuation of the public hearing and decision that we had on on September 26th. So it's a continuation of that public hearing from September 26th. We have received some written testimony from Lynn Owens, Michael McBride, and Pamela Bering, Flora Way, and Attorney Todd Hume of Witherspoon, Brassic, and McPhee. So I will let you know that we will, I do need to open this up since we continued it for anyone else wishing to testify today on this public hearing item. So I think, Matt, I don't know that is there any other items to discuss?
No, if it pleases the commissioners, we'll go ahead and hear testimony, and then I'll make a recommendation to the board at the end of it.
Thank you. Okay. So I will open this up for public testimony. Item 6A, is there anyone in the audience wishing to testify on item number 6A? Okay, second call for anyone wishing to testify on item number 6A. Seeing no one online or no one in the audience. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify, well, not final call, but I guess for this portion, I don't know, make sure I'm saying it right. Then Mr. Zarecor, I don't see anyone, so.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have received some additional testimony, written testimony, and we'd like to continue this for 2 more weeks to give our legal staff the opportunity to review it.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, so then with that, do I need a motion to continue?
Madam Chair, I move that we continue public hearing item number 6A, to where we will leave open public comment and reserve the right for final action on October 17th.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to continue the public hearing and decision to Tuesday, October 17th at 2 o'clock. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion all right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. So then that will take us to item number 6B on today's agenda, which is in the matter of a resolution of intention to modify section number 3, which is the rates, section number 12, which is the effective date, and section number 5, the establishment of the Spokane Hotel and Motel TPA Commission, a Spokane County Resolution number 22-0602 regarding the ordinance establishing a tourism promotion area having boundaries including the city of Spokane and unincorporated area of Spokane County. Mr. Imacio.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Jim Imacio. I'm a Special Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. I am here this afternoon to present some general facts dealing with item number 6B as identified by Chairman Cuney. I have prepared an overhead projection which Rebecca has put on the screen, and I'd like to very briefly go over it because we have several people here today who would like to testify with regard to this item. As the Board of County Commissioners is aware, the legislature in 2005 created legislation which allows cities and counties separately or together to form tourist promotion areas. And the reason why the legislature passed this legislation, it was a mechanism where the lodging businesses themselves could agree to impose on their guests a nightly fee, and then the nightly fee would be used to promote tourism within the boundaries of the tourism promotion area. The Board of County Commissioners last year formed a new tourism promotion area effective January 1st, 2023. The tourism promotion area includes only the unincorporated area of Spokane County and the city of Spokane. If my memory is correct, I believe in the unincorporated area we have 3 or 4 lodging businesses, and within the city of Spokane there are approximately 33 lodging businesses. As of January 1st, 2023, when the board formed the tourism promotion area, the lodging businesses, by a vote of 78.1%, asked the Board of County Commissioners to impose, if you will, a special assessment that they would charge their guests. And at the time they submitted their petition, the special assessment was $5 for all the lodging businesses whose income on rooms exceeded $500,000 in the unincorporated area and the city of Spokane to pay a $5 per night assessment. The assessment for businesses making less than $500,000 gross annually on room rentals was, I think it's a dollar per room evening. The law that allows the Board of County Commissioners to establish a tourism promotion area authorizes the board to increase, if you will, the special assessment up to a maximum amount of $5. We have a request by the lodging businesses in Spokane County, signed by lodging businesses who would pay an increase of $1, and 68.5% have requested the county commissioners consider increasing the assessment on their night guests from $4 to $5. If I could please have Rebecca go to the next slide. There you go. And if you'll notice on this particular slide, I've lined out and underlined exactly the increase in the special assessment that would take place. As you'll notice, Zone A includes all the properties within the city of Spokane. Zone B includes all the properties within the unincorporated area. And you don't see Zone C on there, but those are all the properties whose total room gross amounts for any calendar year are less than $500,000. They will continue to pay $1. So upon the receipt of the petition by the lodging businesses requesting the county commissioners consider increasing the assessment by $1 as identified there, the Board of County Commissioners is required to hold a public hearing and consider testimony from members of the public and lodging businesses with regard to the particular request that's in front of you. The particular request in front of you, if the board agrees to adopt the request and amend your ordinance, would start on January 1st, 2024. And the reason it starts January 1st, 2024 is that the Department of Revenue administers and collects this particular assessment, and we have to give them 75 days notice for them to advise the lodging businesses of the proposed increase. In addition to the change in the assessment, increasing it by $1 as requested by the petition, there's an additional request we received. Under the ordinance you presently have, you have established a hotel-motel TPA commission. Presently, that commission consists of 5 individuals. 2 are ex officio non-voting, 1 from the Board of County Commissioners, and 1 from the City Council of the City of Spokane. There are 3 other voting members on the Hotel Motel TPA Commission. And the voting members at the present time, 2 appointed from the City Council and 1 from the County Commissioners. And the voting members are members who have been recommended by the Hotel Motel Association. There's been a request that we increase the membership of the Hotel Motel TPA Commission by adding 2 more voting members. So that would bring us up to a total of 7 members, 2 ex officio, 1 county commissioners, 1 individual from the City Council, and then there would be 5 voting members. Out of the 5 voting members, 3 would be appointed by the City Council and 2 by the Board of County Commissioners. The Hotel Motel TPA Commission is significant in that they make a formal recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners on how the monies collected from those people staying in hotels and motels should be spent. And the amount that's collected on an annual basis would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million. So their recommendation is very helpful. Once they make a recommendation to this board, then the board determines how to allocate the resources, and the TPA manager prepares the necessary contracts to contract those agencies. That is my presentation, board members. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. Otherwise, I'll turn it back to the chair to elicit public testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Maceo. Any questions for Jim? Commissioner Jordan?
Would the city also need to approve the makeup of the board change?
Commissioner Jordan, you asked a good question, and I apologize for the oversight in that. When we establish a TPA commission, the entity establishing it can only establish it in their boundaries. If you want to include another entity's boundaries, you have to enter into an interlocal agreement with that entity. So, Commissioner Jordan, as you properly point out, in this case, Spokane County and the City of Spokane entered into an interlocal agreement to form the TPA. So, in answer to your inquiry, the City of Spokane will also have to approve the increase in fee, but the board has to not only approve it by the interlocal agreement, but also by the ordinance, because your ordinance would cover both the incorporated City of Spokane and the unincorporated area. I have asked the City of Spokane to delay their action on the amendment to the ILA, as we did today, until after the board has held this particular public hearing and considered the public testimony. Does that answer your inquiry, Commissioner Jordan? Thank you very much.
Very well, as a matter of fact.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll now sit down.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Micio. Okay, so I have several people wishing to testify. So I'll now open up the public hearing for item number 6B. We have received written testimony from Mr. Jerry Dicker. So I just want to have that in the record. And then I will now open up for public testimony. So Rose Noble. And if you would, I know you're with Visit Spokane, but if you'd state your address and name for the record, and then you have 3 minutes once that's started.
Okay. Yes, Rose Noble, Visit Spokane, 801 West Riverside Avenue, Suite 100, Spokane, Washington, 99201. Still learning the zip codes. Yes, I'm the new CEO for Visit Spokane, and right out of the gates, we're talking about TPA. So I've had a wonderful time learning all of the processes from Mr. Maceo. He's been super helpful. We are here to ask you to approve the TPA commission increase from $4 to $5. I'm sorry, the collection. We act as a TPA manager for the TPA commission. We do sit in on the meetings and help arrange the meetings and facilitate discussion, and then work alongside Mr. Maceo for all of the legal type of timeline, as well as through a TPA collection increase, we have to do a certification through our audit, through our auditors, CPA. So we have followed all of the steps, and we are working on behalf of the TPA Commission to reach out to the hotel partners to see if they would be interested in the increase. And as you can see by the petition, 68.5% are in favor of the increase from 4 to 5. There are many ways this will be a positive for economic impact for our region. We have quite a few people that are going to speak more pointedly to their business and how they will see that impact. For us as Visit Spokane, the more funding that we can put into tourism promotion and event recruitment, not just conventions, but event festivals as well as sports through our partners, Sports Spokane, allows us to be more competitive when we are facing other regions. And as you may or may not know, the state of Washington is seeing more increased TPAs being formed and people increasing their collection. So although we are on the east side of the state and we happen to get a lot of regional business due to our proximity, location in the state, we are seeing a lot of competition come from the west side, suburbs surrounding Seattle, and then even central Washington that are aggressively going after groups that we traditionally have had. So we just want to make sure that our region is set up for success in the long term, and the law allows for it to be 5. The hotels have said that they are in favor, so we're hoping that you will consider the increase as a positive economic impact for our region. Thank you.
Thank you. So next I have Anna Alsep with Spokane Sports. So if you'd state your name and address for the record as well. Thank you.
Okay, hi there. I'm Anna Alsep, Director of Sports Management at Spokane Sports. Address is 201 West North River Drive, Suite 130, Spokane, Washington, 99201. So I'd like to speak in favor of the TPA increase as well. Both Spokane Sports and Visit Spokane have a long history of proactively working together to facilitate economic growth for our region through tourism efforts. We also know that when we succeed, so do our local area businesses, families, and organizations. Thank you for taking the time to consider supporting the TPA increase collection starting in 2024. By supporting this initiative, this will help to grow opportunity for Spokane as a destination for meetings, conventions, and sporting events in our city. The increase in TPA collection would unlock valuable resources for both organizations to advance our business models and better serve our key stakeholders. The increase in TPA collection will allow us to generate additional travel to Spokane with a specialized focus in shoulder season for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next I have, is it Dana or Diana Duke?
Good afternoon, it's Dania Duke.
Dana Duke, thank you, sorry.
I'm the Vice President, Area Managing Director for the Davenport Hotels. Would you like me to repeat that, or?
No.
Okay. I'm the Area Vice President, Managing Director for the Davenport Hotels, and located at 10 South Post Street, Spokane, Washington, 99201. I'm here today to speak in favor of the increase of the TPA tax, adding $1 to that. We, as you've heard earlier, really need to bolster the marketing funds for our destination. I've been here now a year and a half, And to me, that has been the biggest headline coming out of COVID, seeing how difficult it is to get groups here, and we really need these marketing dollars. We've also been working closely with Spokane Sports to try and secure major intercollegiate athletes here for significant groups and competitions. So this tax will be fairly divided as designated and will really help all of us and also our downtown business owners. I also serve on the board for Visit Spokane and also Downtown Spokane, and I know that we're very supportive of this increase. I'd also like to say, coming from San Diego, I was there 8 years, and the tax that we impose on our guests there is triple what we do here. So when we're looking at business we compete with in Seattle and other locations, we're really, the underdog. So these additional funds will really give us an effort towards maybe rebates and other types of marketing promotions to bring business to us. So I ask you to kindly consider this, and it's very important to us to continue to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Jerry, I think it's Jerry Dicker.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Jerry Dicker. I'm president of GVD Hospitality. We favor the sports people in the city, and we like Visit Spokane, but we do think things have to be done correctly procedurally. This has not been done correctly procedurally for a number of reasons. The biggest one being the petition is filed, but there's no affidavit saying that the petition represents 68% of the proceeds from the TPA, which it's supposed to. It's quiet as to whether it represents rooms or proceeds, and the affidavit from Frucci talks about the rooms but not the proceeds, so it's just a defective presentation. At the same time, we may as well go through the other points, which is a point I brought up a year or two ago, and this is before Rose Noble came here, who I also like. But having said that, I've asked consistently, does Northern Quest and the Native American casinos, do they pay their TPA fee? Are they treated the same way as the other businesses that have to compete with them? And no one has answered that question, but as I understand it, the answer is no. Northern Quest does not pay the TPA fee. I called two of the petitioners who filed in favor of this, and I asked them, do you know whether Northern Quest pays a TPA fee or not? They said, no, we don't know that. I said, would you change your vote if you heard that Northern Quest doesn't pay the TPA? And they said that was very, very significant to them. The marketing of getting the petitions says nothing about that issue. So I think it's ineffective because by omission, major important points have not been discussed. I would ask today, does this legislation, is it going to impose a tax? They call it a tax. The legislation says it's not a tax, but the Davenport group says it is a tax. Is Northern Quest or any other Native American casino going to pay? Does anyone know the answer? It's a yes or no answer. You guys know, Attorney, will they be paying, yes or no?
I'm more than happy at the direction of the chair to respond to that.
How about at the end of the public testimony, I'll have you come back up, Mr. Macio.
So another objection I had is that it feels like, as I think we own 4 or 5 of the hotels downtown, we're local, the Davenport is no longer local. It feels like the Visit Spokane does not treat all of the hotels similarly. It feels like they clearly favor the Davenport group and the Doubletree, and my hotel people say they don't treat us equally. So we want to go into a discrimination question. Why aren't we be treating equally and fairly?
Thank you, Mr. Dicker. And I believe that we have your written testimony as well that has those comments as well. So
This expands on the comments,
okay. And your
Commissioner.
3 minutes is up, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So next I have Meredith, and I apologize that I'm not sure your Rainbell. There's an R. Thank you. No, it's all good. Thank you very much.
My name is Meredith Rainville. I own and operate the Best Western Hotel. We're located at 33 West Spokane Falls Boulevard. I fully favor the increase in the TPA. I feel like these funds are vital to try to bring more tourism to our area. I know the Sports Commission and Visit Spokane, oftentimes they have to pay bid fees in order to even be considered to bring an event to Spokane, and a lot of those funds go to those fees. And just in tourism in general is, it's largely event related, and in order to get some of those events, we need the money to do that. So I am in favor of the increase. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last person I have is Jamie Crawford.
Hi, I'm Jamie Crawford. I manage the Hampton by Hilton Spokane Airport. I just want to say briefly, my previous history, I have worked at the big box hotels downtown in a sales capacity. I did that for about 7 or 8 years, and I have moved on since to managing a mid-scale hotel. We're out by the airport, so a little bit on the outskirts of town. I vote in favor of the tourism promotion assessment increase of $1. I do view heavily that these funds are vital to our success, like everybody else has mentioned previously in favor. We do have to compete with these other major markets, and that's just a fact. And in order to do so, I know they need the funds. I heavily support the people that are in charge, and I know that we need to support not only our Visit Spokane, our Sports Commission. We certainly need to have the funds to not only bid, but also sometimes there are offsetting costs in order to get these big, large conventions and sporting events into town. And as we know, this city as a whole has divulged a lot of money into the sports community with all of our new facilities. And we really do need to fill those for our, all of our hotels, our restaurants, our small businesses. There is going to be a lot of benefit in order to do this. And I also agree, if you've kind of traveled around to the other areas, you're going to see that the TPA funds and other taxes assessed are much higher than what you see in Spokane. So I don't view that a $1 increase is going to be detrimental to any of our business and will only help our success moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we do have someone online. It looks like Ashley Blake. If you could state your name and address for the record, and then we will start your 3 minutes.
Okay, great. Ashley Blake, 201 West North River Drive, Suite 130, Spokane, Washington, 99201. Ashley Blake, CEO at Spokane Sports. I wish I could be there in person today, but I'm actually attending an industry conference meeting with decision makers for major sporting events. I want to acknowledge our hotel community for the ongoing effort to strengthen the tourism sector for our region. Thank you for your leadership to increase the TPA collection, along with the thoughtful inclusion of hoteliers from varied geographies and property sizes. This initiative will propel our region to new heights, providing critical resources to seasoned, proven tourism agencies, and will provide a pathway for Spokane Sports and Visit Spokane to collaborate and collectively raise the bar for tourism in our region, delivering tourism dollars to our community. Thank you very much for your time and your support of this initiative.
Thank you. Okay, so that's everyone that I know at this point. So second call for anyone wishing to testify on item number 6B. Mr. Clausen, if you'd like to come up. And then we'll have you fill out one of the yellow forms. And you get to state your name and address for the record, and then your 3 minutes will start.
Kent Clausen.
Oops.
There we go. How about that?
Thank you.
Kent Clausen, 8923 East Mission Avenue in Spokane Valley, Washington. As the owner and operator of hotel properties in 5 different states, 3 of which are in Spokane, 2 in the valley, 1 in the city, we could raise the fee. I don't object to raising the fee. Let me just state that first and foremost. My comment is a little different than whether we should or should not just raise the fee. We could raise the fee to $50. If we've got people coming to our city and having a bad experience, they're not coming back. And in our property in downtown Spokane is seeing a rash of car break-ins, guests coming into our property and harassing our guests, intimidating our guests, using our public facilities in unseemly ways. And I know it's outside of your purview to some degree, but this, the experience that people from out of the community are experiencing is far more detrimental and negative than it has ever been. So I don't want to minimize this because, like I said, we could raise the fee all we want. If we can't deliver what we promise, they'll go back to Boise for their events. They'll go back to Missoula for their events. They'll go to the communities that are of similar size to ours that we compete against for those groups because we can't give them a safe, positive experience when they're in Spokane. So, for whatever that's worth, that's what I feel compelled to put on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. So, third and final call for anyone wishing to testify on item number 6B. Seeing no one else online or no one else in the audience, Mr. Amicio, do you want to come back up? I'm closing the testimony at this point in time because I know we're going to be potentially continuing. But if you would like to address the question that was raised.
Thank you. Pardon me. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Mr. Dicker raised 3 important issues. Number 1, he promptly pointed out that the legislature does not identify this assessment as a tax, it's a fee. And that's very important with regard to the legal analysis that is used to address this issue. So thank you, Mr. Dicker, for clarifying that. And sometimes people use the terms interchangeably and they're not correct. The second thing is we are more than happy to make the revised certification that we received from Frucci and Associates identifying the present petition at the 68.5% to Mr. Dicker to review. From a legal perspective, we believe that it does satisfy the criteria in the TPA legislation to address this issue. The third and most important issue is an issue which has come up in previous hearings that the board has held with regard to TPA commissions, and that is to say, can the county commissioners via ordinance impose on a separate nation the assessments set forth in the TPA ordinance? And the response to that is, unfortunately, and I shouldn't say unfortunately, the answer is no. Certainly, if the Northern Quest or any other gaming institution owned by another nation wants to pay the assessment, they can, but we cannot lawfully impose it on them. So, does that answer your concerns, Madam Chair?
I think so.
And then, thank you very much. And from a legal perspective, I would formally request that the board conclude the public testimony on this, close the hearing as you've done, and then I would ask that you continue this for 1 week for a decision. I'd like to revisit the draft resolution that I prepared for your consideration, and this would give me an opportunity to do that.
So I'm just going to, so you're asking to conclude the public testimony at this time and then delay the vote decision for a week. Is there any reason not to allow for further testimony?
I see no reason to allow for further testimony, Madam Chair. I will not be presenting anything further. I'm just going to fine-tune, if you will, the resolution very consistent with what was already part of the agenda.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Public testimony is closed at this point. So I look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I move that we close the public comment portion of the public hearing item number 6B, and we continue the matter to October 10th for decision.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to close the public testimony and just continue
Continue to October 10th for decision purposes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, motion passes unanimously. So we will continue for decision until next week. With that then, we do have item number 7, which is a 2024 public budget roundtable. This is our first of 3 that we'll be having. And so Randy Bischoff, I'm not sure who all you have presenting. You're gonna stand there?
Thank you. Yep, just checking, make sure it's on. Thank you. Okay.
We'll give everyone just a moment if they want to get out of here.
I had an airplane, otherwise I would be safe.
You're all good. Okay. And as long as I have the opportunity, Commissioner French, can we use your stamp?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Thank you. We will let you go.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. We're going to have our first public roundtable. This one here is going to be on our general fund estimates. This will be as of the end of September. We talked about some different changes in yesterday's budget meeting, but they have not made these slides yet. So next slide. So here's our 2024 general fund revenue. We have currently in our budget $257.6 million. That compares to last year of $245 million. As you can see on the left, the biggest source of our revenue is, of course, sales tax. That makes up about 37% of our revenue, and followed by property tax and charge for services. And then we have some other revenues which by themselves are very small, so that's why we've grouped them together. Next slide. Here's kind of a history of our sales tax. So this is year-over-year growth. So for the last 21 years, we have averaged 4.1% growth year over year. You can see we've had some down years and we've had some up years, but we are currently in the longest economic expansion that we have ever had. As of the end of August, we were running a 2.9% year-over-year growth for 2024. And that is what we have assumed that we would hit for 23, and that we've assumed the same amount for 24, even though our 21-year average is 4.1%. As you will know from yesterday, through September, we have now dropped down to 2.7%, but we will keep watching that, and potentially we may need to adjust the budgeted revenue in the next month or so. Next slide. So of the sales tax, we get a very small portion of that. So our numbers are in the bottom. So for example, if it's in an incorporated area and somebody spends $1,000, we get $5.46 of that $9 of tax, or $90 of tax. We get $5. If it's in the unincorporated area, our share goes up to nearly $14. So again, it's a lot of tax that citizens pay, but we get a very small piece of that. And so if you go to the next slide, that shows, so that is where our revenue comes from. The next category, we can go on, is property taxes. So this is our history on property taxes. Again, the red numbers are the standard property tax. The blue is when we did a road levy shift. We have done that in 4 of the last 7 years. This budget does not assume that we are doing a road levy shift. If you do want to do one, you do have up to $7.1 million of capacity to do that. This budget also does not include a 1% increase to the normal property tax. Again, if you were to do that 1% increase, that would add about $600,000 to our budget, which for the average household would add about $3.50 to their property tax bill for the year. But we will go over that more in our third budget or our levy presentation later in November. Also, you'll see our statutory limit is $1.80 per thousand. Right now, we are looking, in 23, we actually did go down to 72 cents. Right now, in 24, we're slated to go down to 71 cents per thousand. So for a normal household, some people will pay less tax in 24 than they actually did in 23 from a county's perspective. If you go to the next slide, you'll see how the property taxes break out. The county is the light, I guess I'd call it mauve. It's 72 cents of every dollar, of every thousand of dollar. So your property taxes, you know, if you're in the unincorporated Spokane, you're paying $9.16 in property taxes in this one district. Of that, yes?
I was going to say, it kind of matches your shirt today. So.
Kind of close. Jason did that on purpose. So, well, he was back there. So the county only gets 72 cents of that. You know, states, we get less than 8% of the property taxes. Most of it goes to schools. They are running in the 55 to 60% range. That's where most of your taxes go. No matter where you are in the county, though, we're only getting, right last year, 72 cents. This next year, we're looking at only getting 71 cents out of every dollar, or every 100. So we are not, so even though property taxes are high, that is why it's not our biggest revenue source, because we're not the big piece of that. Next slide. The third largest piece of our revenue, other than taxes, would be charges for services. So this is going to include things like charges for sheriffs for Spokane Valley, the auditor's office for vehicle licensing, recording fees, you know, any service we perform where we get to bill outside. So this year, we're looking at about $64.1 million of that. You will, one thing I will note, 22 is a blip. There was an accounting change done in 22, which is why the green is at 25.8 million. In 21 and in the 23 and 24 budget, that was down in other revenue. That was our charge for internal services, our chargebacks. So we will be making those change in future to get those to line up. So accounting and budget, but that was a change they made at the end of this last year. So they moved it from a 3.6 to a 3.4 for your information. So as you would understand that. So anyway, fairly flat, fairly consistent. We don't see a lot of change in here. Next slide. Whoops, I think we went backwards. Then we have the other revenues. Again, this was the fourth one on that second slide. So we have other taxes, you know, we have fines and penalties, other financing sources. So that would be like operating transfers where we move money from one fund into the general fund. For example, we may have a debt service that's being funded by REIT. So we move money from REIT to the general fund to pay the debt service. That would be another financing source. We have licenses and permits, marriage animal licenses, intergovernmental, and then we have miscellaneous. Primarily, it's interest income. So if you go to the next slide, you will see our revenue for next year is estimated at $40 million. Couple of big, 44.6. The big change in miscellaneous, excuse me, grab my notes there. That was mainly indirect costs and interest income. Indirect costs went up $2.5 million, and interest went up $2 million over what we'd budgeted last year. And then for those that were paying very close attention, on the first side, we said estimated our miscellaneous revenue was like $52 million, and here it shows 44.6. That difference is our use of fund balance. So we have uses of fund balance planned next year because we are using some ARP money that we brought in previously that we are using for capital purposes, and that is not in this slide. So that is why, if you did catch that, that's why you'll see the difference between the 44.6 and the first slide. And I think that is probably it. Last slide, just to recap, modest growth, of course, in revenue. Property tax is basically only going up by new construction, which fortunately we still had $1.4 billion of that last year. Sales and use tax, we're only growing at a 2.9% rate instead of our 4.1, which is the 21-year average. This budget does not include, again, the property tax 1% nor a levy shift, which is going to drive our property tax rates down lower off of our 1.80 authorized in code. And everything else is fairly flat. Next meeting's coming up. We will have the second roundtable, which we will be focusing on general fund expenses. That will be the evening meeting on October 24th. We will have the third one, which is kind of the overall budget, and that'll be on Election Day on November 7th. We will talk property taxes specifically as to what are we going to do on the end of November. We will adopt the budget. We have to adopt it by December 4th. And then we need to certify our levy. It has to be certified by the 15th. So the 12th is your last scheduled legislative session before that. So those will be our upcoming sessions. Any questions for Tessa or Jason?
Commissioner Waldron.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the budget team that we have here at the county. You guys work really hard, and appreciate all the questions you answer for us, especially the new commissioners that have lots of questions. I guess, could you just explain for those who are watching or who may watch this later, why would the dollar amount go down for the percentage of the property tax? Or so from 0.72, like 72 cents to 71. Can you just explain that for folks
Certainly.
that might not be familiar with that?
If we don't do an increase to property taxes, we can basically levy what we levied last year. But property values are going up. And so when you've increased the denominator, so here's how much we can charge, here's how we spread it. As this number gets bigger, the product or the answer gets smaller because we have the same amount of dollars to get spread amongst more value. So that is why our charge per value is going down.
How many years has the county not taken the 1% property tax increase?
Don't know the answer to that, Tessa.
We do have that information, and we will include that in a future presentation when we get into the levy information. So we do have that.
I do know we did not do it last year.
Right, I know we didn't do it.
It was previously, but last year we didn't.
Not last year, okay. And then what is the banked capacity that the state allows you? If you don't take it 1 year, like how many years, I can't remember at the city what that bank capacity was when I was there.
Tessa, do you have that number on hand?
Or and we can save that for the next
Well,
time.
yeah,
we have-
we'll save that, and we'll consult with the levy team in the assessor's office to ensure we have accurate
I do know that our
descriptions.
maximum 101% is about a $900,000 increase for the general taxes versus just a $600,000 1% increase.
So there's
Based
like a cap there.
It's
that you-
based upon the highest previous lawful assessment plus additional percent above that. And so the assessor's office has provided us that data. It is still preliminary because we don't have state assessed and things
Right.
like those yet, but they have done those calculations for us.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. So having the levy rate certification on December 12th, normally don't we have that prior to our budget adoption?
Last year, we've always talked about it prior, but we never physically certified the levy until afterward. And it seems counterintuitive, seems like we should go the other way around, but RCWs actually have it coming after because you are supposed to certify a levy to meet the budget you have just approved.
Okay, but we would, if we're
We
going to
discuss
take,
it.
except if we were to take the 1% or to take a road shift, those would have to be determined prior to the budget.
You're going to make
And
that
then we
decision
certify
prior, and then
after.
we certify the levy
Okay.
afterwards, yes.
Just making sure I understand the timing of all that. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Randy or Tessa?
I'll just echo what Commissioner Waldron said, but just fantastic presentation. You all do a fantastic job breaking this down to where even we can understand what it is you're talking about. So just thank you so much for the hard work that you and your team do.
Well,
It's
and
just
that
stellar.
That really goes to Tessa and Jason because they do it all. So I have to appreciate them. That's for sure. Thank you.
Commissioner Jordan?
Just not to pile on, but I wanted to say this, thank you as well. As a new person, it really helps to have really smart people. I would say it's fair, though, if I ask you the same question 3 times, you can just tell me to Google it, so.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the work, and we look forward to the next presentation. Okay. So this is a public roundtable. So if we have anyone who would like to speak to the revenues for Spokane County, you have the opportunity to come down and speak to it. I'm not seeing anyone online or anyone in the audience. Second call for anyone wishing to speak to our public roundtable. Third and final call. Seeing no one in the audience or no one online, I will close the budget roundtable, or we're going to continue the budget roundtable to October, so I will not close it because we will be continuing to October 24th at 5:30 will be our next one. We'll speak to expenditures at that point in time. So like I said, looking forward to that. So with that then, we do have one by-leave item today, which is by-leave number, I think we'll say this is number 8. So with that, the by-leave is the notice of public hearing for proposed action to support measure number 1 and invitation to express opposing views. Set the hearing date for Tuesday, October 10th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. in the matter of expressing a collective decision or voting on a motion to support or oppose measure number 1 entitled Spokane County 0.2% sales and use tax for criminal justice, public safety, correctional infrastructure, and behavioral health purposes to be considered by the voters at the general election on November 7th, 2023.
Madam Chair, I move to approve by leave item number 8, which is a notice of public hearing for proposed action to support Measure 1 and invitation to express opposing views, and set the hearing date for Tuesday, October 10th, 2023 at 5:30 PM.
Second.
Okay. There we go. I have a motion and a second. Since this is just to notice a public hearing, we do not need it open it up for public testimony on this. So is there any further discussion from the commissioners? Commissioner Jordan?
I just want to thank the staff for kind of writing this in a way that makes it clear we're taking any and all views at the hearing, so look forward to that discussion.
Very good. And we will, I am going to be having a conversation with our attorney, so that way on Friday afternoon, we'll be posting the procedures. We know that it's going to be up to 30 minutes for the pro and con side, but we just want to make sure that everyone will be clear on what the procedures are and how we move forward in that hearing. So look for that on Friday afternoon when it comes out with the agendas. So with that, any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of by leave item number 8, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Mr. Simmons and Mr. Anderson, is there anything else for this afternoon?
Nothing for me.
No, nothing other than, while Randy's very humble and not in pointing out his team and all of the work they do, which they do a great job doing it as well. He provides a lot of great guidance, a lot of interaction with the commissioners. The budget process wouldn't come together without the full team and without a heavy engagement by the commissioners to help with that too. So we are very grateful. We have a solid budget team for us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Okay, with that then, that will conclude today's meeting. It is 3:02, and we will see everybody back next week. Thank you.